Holy crap, it does work.
Of course it works.
So we're just going to start on that.
I guess that works. We are finding out new things about technology.
Everybody who's going to be lost, we just figured out there's a hotkey to actually start recording. So, Tyler, I know you're going to be listening. Don't even judge it. I don't want to hear it.
I figured it would probably be something stupid and simple like that. I figured it'd be like enter spacebar or it being record R.
I thought it was going to be like something stupid F.
Why?
It's going to be like F12 or something.
No, hotkeys almost always make sense. To some degree.
Do I look like I use Audacity, like, ever? None of my videos do it.
Okay, anyway, this is Dyrkus Conradus.
And Superchrisman. We're back for the Do What I Want podcast. Make sure to share it. We're actually getting some traction. It's being shared on Facebook across multiple pages. I did not put any links on the thing.
What do you mean? On the SoundCloud page?
Yeah. Actually, I don't know how you do it. Or description, I guess we could.
That's probably where you do that.
Yeah, but I don't normally read the description. And actually, what I need to do is make like a text document with everybody's thing on there so I can just copy and paste it.
Right.
Which I'll get around to later. I just haven't done it. I haven't seen the point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't take much longer to just do it manually every time. Because it's still just copy-paste.
Well, if I have it all saved under, like, the text document, just copy-paste it over. But I need to do the initial typing first.
Right.
Besides that, though, it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
So you want to tell them about our new segment? That since you started first?
Yeah, I guess. Now, what is the name for it? The Red Light Challenge?
Red Light Challenge.
It is Red Light Challenge? Okay. So the new segment that we've got for the YouTube channel, and well, the media group in general, I Do What I Want. And you said this is going to be posted on What Did You Expect, right?
It's going to be on, as far as we know, it's going to be on What Did You Expect, and then whenever the Facebook, or whenever the YouTube page is made, it'll be posted on that, but right now that's primarily Facebook.
Right.
And we'll share it across whatever, but
right.
As we get more, it'll go on YouTube, because a lot of people like videos like that.
Yeah, because you guys are jackasses. Anyway.
It was a fair challenge.
No, it wasn't. Okay, this challenge was stacked up against me. Now, I was told there's going to be a challenge and there's going to be alcohol involved, and that was pretty much it. And that I wasn't going to be told what the challenge was or what the consequences for failing the challenge were going to be until we were there. And I even had to put on a mask so I couldn't see where we were going until after we had started recording. And then I turned around and it's like, okay, I've never seen this place. So we went to this place called a Tilted Kilt, which is like a Scottish-Irish-themed Hooters. Really cute waitresses with really short skirts and these, what is it, like a halter top? Is that what it's called?
It's kind of like I don't know, I thought it was more like a Daisy Duke type top.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a shirt that was tied.
Yeah, a real short shirt tied up in the middle with lots of cleavage showing. And so I'm taken to this place, and I am told that I have to get at least one legitimate valid number before we leave. And if I fail, I would have to get on a bike wearing the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man onesie and ride around town while singing I Feel Pretty from the original West Side Story with the original lyrics. Now, the reason why I said that the odds were stacked against me is, first of all,
because they looked great.
I don't deal well with pretty girls. I am not smooth at all. So I'm put in this challenge, and these guys have to know by now that I'm not good with pretty girls. So we're there, and I did, work out a plan finally. Oh, I forgot. There's another part of the challenge I forgot to mention. I was not allowed to speak unless I took a drink directly before or directly after. Yeah. And for me, as talkative as I am, that's enough of a goddamn challenge.
I'm going to see if we can get an extra person in here real quick, but you keep telling them about that.
Okay. But yeah, so this challenge was stacked against me because I don't deal well with cute girls. I like to talk a lot, and I had to keep drinking, at which point it kind of devolved to the point where I started having to mouth words just to communicate because, my beer would run out, and we were waiting for the waitress to come back. Now, also, it being the type of establishment that it is, and as attractive as all these girls are, most likely they either have a boyfriend or they're married. And as it turns out, while talking to the waitress that we had, most of them have boyfriends or are married. And it would have been kind of a shoot in the wind for me to ask any of them because of that. And at the same time, it's also a matter of where they work. They have to have guys asking for the numbers all the time. So for me to be doing that, it just kind of shows the whole issue that my roommates were trying to make me fail. And they even said they all wanted me to fail. And people that they were friends with and talked to at work or online also wanted me to fail because everybody's more interested in the failure video. So, I did fail, and that video, we have not recorded it yet, but we will be probably this weekend at some point. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I'm actually okay with this consequence because, yeah, it's going to be kind of embarrassing, but I'm better off getting dressed up in a weird costume, singing embarrassing lyrics while riding around town on a bike than I am talking to cute girls. To give you kind of some perspective of how much of a challenge that is for me. So that's what we've got going on. The three of them teamed up for it. Chris was the original mastermind with Mike and Steph helping the planning as accomplices later on. And then we also... What's up?
Oh, not safe.
Okay, not a problem.
I'm editing for a lot of the extra stuff like that.
Gotcha. But anyway, so with this, we're going to have pretty much one person is going to be the mastermind with two accomplices targeting the fourth person. And we, this time I was the target, Chris was the mastermind, and we're going to see what happens whenever we get on to the next one, whenever someone decides to target someone else. Now, we did agree, though, that we cannot target one person twice before we get through all four people. So it could be me, then Chris, then Mike, then Steph, but even then, after that, it could be that, you know, we're on a whole new set. Any of the four of us can be targeted, which it could be me again, it could be Chris again, and then just kind of, we'll see what happens. So I went on the whole spiel. What else are we going to talk about here?
Pretty much. I'm sharing everything back and forth. I never put the podcast on Twitter.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which means we would get around 2,000 people seeing it, so more traction.
Gotcha. Because we need the traction.
I'm not even sure who's going to end up going next.
Well, somebody has to be a mastermind and target somebody else. Yeah. Which at this point, it is most likely expected that I will be the next mastermind targeting you because you're the mastermind behind the one that targeted me to start off with.
Good luck, because there's a lot of things I don't give a crap on.
Yeah.
Although I could see Mike going after Steph next.
Any of us could go after Steph next. I'm just glad that you guys can't get me until we at least shoot 3 more. So if we do this once a week, you know, I've got a whole month ahead of me that I can just relax. And I don't have to target anybody. I can just be the accomplice and just...
Well, and we don't always have to go to, places like that to do it.
Oh, yeah, I know. But it's still a matter of...
It originally spawned from walking through the bar, and I was like, or walking past the bar, and I was like, you know what, drinks sound good. And Mike was like, well, I don't want to go to a bar. Or not that day or whatever. So we ended up just looking up different places to go to, and it happened to be one of them.
Right.
Tyler's waiting for the podcast.
Oh, already?
Yeah. Well, he said what's up, so I told him we was recording for it, so he's going to be waiting for it.
Gotcha. So, yeah, that's happening.
Yeah, I don't know what else we're technically doing. It's not...
The usual stuff that we've already talked about.
I did try to call another lady for the actual licensing deal, and I don't... Well, I ended up calling, and I think they were out of the office. Okay. Because it was 4:30, and it says that they closed at 5, so I think that they just turned the phones off earlier and was like, yeah, deuces.
Maybe.
So, whatever. I'll get it sorted out.
Maybe we went home early because it's Friday or something happened. Either way, yeah. Once that's up, that'll be fantastic.
So have you got your lyrics looked up and rehearsed?
No, not yet. I need to do that. Yeah, because they made me drink constantly while we were there. Oh, and it started off with 2 shots of SoCo. So I walked in warm,
feeling pretty good,
right? I don't think it really hit until I don't think I felt significantly buzzed or tipsy or anything until I first stood up the first time to go to the bathroom. Because at that point I stood up and 2 steps later I'm like, okay, this is drunk. But yeah, I started off with that, and then I think I had a total of 3 beers, or did I have? Yeah, I only had 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was around 3 or 4.
Which
sure.
I'm a lightweight, so 3 beers and 2 shots is enough for me to get drunk. But on the way back, the first thing that happened is we got in the car, and we immediately, Chris turned on that song with the original lyrics, and I pulled up the lyrics on my phone and started singing along for the first, and then I told him to play it on repeat, and he said no.
Oh, nobody else wanted to listen to it.
I was saying it every time.
This is for Instagram. I don't post, so they need updates. This is a new podcast. But
that's it. Just this is the new podcast.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, the red light challenge is not necessarily going to need alcohol in every time, right?
No, it just kind of eases some over.
Gotcha. I believe the oven just beeped. I will return shortly.
Oh, man. Yeah, red light challenge is actually going to be pretty cool. I'm trying to type and talk and check it out on SoundCloud. Everybody's going to be completely confused, and I'm sorry. I want media. Okay. So that's done. Basically, we already kind of talked about the social media. I have 0 stuff to talk about. I rambled on. I was trying to type and talk, and it didn't work.
Yeah, because then you start typing what you're saying, or you start saying what you're typing.
Oh, no, I just can't, talk and type at the same time. I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
I was just like,
Gotcha. Well, I do have one thing I could talk about. There was a sale on Steam for a game that looks interesting, and I went ahead and got a hold of it somehow. And the game it's called the Talos Principle. Now, the Talos Principle... I might have
seen that at some point, but I never clicked on it.
It's pretty interesting. It was on 75% discount, so a huge discount.
Mm.
And you can get it was on sale for $10, but you can get the expansion, all the DLCs and the soundtrack and this and that and all this different stuff for $13 and change. So, pretty affordable. But with that being the case, I got it, and I'm going to be doing that because it's a first-person puzzle game like Myst.
Mm-hmm.
Is the way I was really looking at it at first. I went ahead and played a little bit of it just to get a feel for it before I got into actually recording with it. And it feels almost a little bit more like Portal. Because you are given these specific pieces
mm-hmm.
to solve these specific puzzles with. And I've only played the first 2 levels and haven't made it super far into the story. But it was pretty interesting. Graphics are real nice and pretty. And from the first 2 levels, what I've learned of the story is really interesting. So I'm pretty excited to keep playing that and actually get into that more. But I want to record for it, and I don't want to go any further.
So when do you plan on actually joining us for Minecraft then?
I just need to get the graphics card switched out in my CPU, and then I'll be able to play with you guys. And I want to play it. It's just a matter of the last time I actually played Minecraft. The only technology advancement that had been made at that point was redstone, and I never even figured out how to use redstone.
No, dude, you think redstone's bad. Wait until you mess with Ender.io, or don't go for witchery. I'm telling you right now, if you try to go for the witchery mod, I have spent hours, and I still don't have the thing after.
Yeah.
It's just, the Ender.io thing's really easy to figure out. The ME system, I could show you how to hook it up. It's not that hard, and you could compact your cobblestone stuff. There's an Ender quarry that's super easy to set up. Power-wise, you can either make your own generator or partially tap into mine.
Yeah.
Just not... I have to watch how much power is drawn from mine, because if the energy buffer drops all the way, even if the shield's at 100, it'll blow up.
Because the Draconic... What was it? The Draconic engine?
Draconic core.
It's
the reactor core.
Yeah.
But,
that thing is... when you blew that up and you came downstairs and told me...
No, it blew up, like... On the New World, I put it in the bedrock thing, so it's safe.
Right.
But it blew up, like, multiple times, and I was sitting there, and I was like, okay, I don't understand, because the last 2 times it did, the shield wasn't charging. It charged up to 50, and then as soon as I activated it, shield started dropping, and the energy buffer rised.
Oh.
As soon as the shield dropped all the way, it blew up, I was like, okay, I'm missing some step. So I went back and I looked. The video said I did it exactly right. What I figured out is you need to run an extra power thing into a creative cell, so that's always running. It's a vibrant capacitor. It's just a creative mode only. It has infinite power.
Okay.
And that only powers the shield. So that the shield never drops.
Gotcha.
Now if I go on there, it's at 99.9% on the shield and 99 point something on the energy buffer.
Gotcha.
But they're still going up. But it's a constant drain from my ME system and other things, but
yeah,
it works.
Right.
It all works, so I'm not trying to mess with it anymore. I got it working. It's a lot more efficient than any other generator.
Right.
Because it is used, I think when I looked earlier, it used 23 out of 10, it was 10,268. And it's been running for like a couple days.
Jeez.
So it's doing a lot better. A normal generator, you would have to put like blocks of yellorium, because you can put yellorium ingots.
I don't know what any of these words are that you're saying.
You know what an ingot is, right?
Yeah.
Like the iron ingot?
Yeah.
Okay, you'd have to put like 64 in there, and it would burn through most of those. Or you can put a block, which is 9 times that.
Right.
Because it takes 9 ingots to make a block.
Right. So what's yellorium?
It's a new one that came with the big reactors mod, and it's a good fuel for generators.
Gotcha.
Or
so
for reactors, that's it.
It's basically like the uranium or plutonium, something radioactive like that.
Yeah, pretty much. It just doesn't say it's radioactive.
Gotcha.
And then
because when you put that Draconic core in your main world, where you guys all have your bases set up, so because not everyone has heard this story yet.
Yeah.
He came down. He was laughing as he came down the stairs and told me. And I'm like, no, you made it blow up, didn't you? Because he'd been telling about it. He's like, dude, just come look at this. So I came, we're up above, floating in the air in creative mode, looking down at this massive crater that is just enormous. Like it would wipe out the entire base that they have set up.
Anybody who doesn't know what the Draconic reactor core is, it is the best thing to power your base, but it is also the most temperamental. And the reason is, it has to have a shield and it has to have an energy buffer. And if either one of them drop clear to 0, it can blow up. But there are certain ways to set it up where it safeguards all of that. I had the reactor shutting down and I was in creative mode, and I thought I could go ahead and break it and it wouldn't do anything. That wasn't the freaking case, because as soon as I hit it in creative mode, it blew up. So you have to let it shut down all the way. You can't break it. And I think when it runs out of fuel, it just shuts itself off, and then you have to go through and redo it. Like, you have to re-put in the fuel. I hope. If not, then I got to remake another one in there.
Yeah.
So whatever. It's my my capacitor banks. Even if it blows up, I still have around 8 billion in the capacitor banks, so it'll run a day or so.
Loud.
Jesus. It'll run like a couple days without shutting off, I hope.
Right. But the crater on the top was massive, and what he had done is he had drilled basically a giant hole straight to the bottom of the map.
Well,
Absolute bedrock.
That was with the original quarry. The original quarry only mines a certain space,
Right.
and it goes clear down to bedrock. The Ender quarry, which I love, whatever block the Ender quarry mines, it switches to dirt. So it's all replaced with dirt, so it doesn't leave a giant hole unless you put a world hole upgrade. But it'll lag. So that's why I started using the Ender quarry instead, because it actually replaced it.
Right. But so anyway, the Draconic core was all the way down on bedrock, and that's where he set it up, thinking that might help. Well, the hole on the surface was enormous, and then we went down into the hole and realized it looked like the freaking mines of Moria, because for whatever reason there were certain spots that were just these pillars randomly around in otherwise an abyss. There's nothing else around. It's like, what?
Well, the actual explosion radius, it depends on how much fuel is left in the reactor when it blows up.
Right.
I filled it all the way up, and it said that it has a 200 block explosion radius. So it went clear down by bedrock. It blew clear out, and it blew clear up. But the main damage was underground. There was a ton of pillars, and it ended up reaching my base. But it was causing a lot of lag on the map, and a lot of strain on the server, because it was all the water going down, all the lava running down that wasn't originally there. So we actually ended up redoing the server. Now everything is actually a lot better. It's fixed. Everything on the new server is stable. We're actually going to start doing videos on the new one soon, kind of like a Trollcraft type deal, but it all kind of depends. We're trying to work through other videos and get some of that done, along with recording for other projects and everything else, and it's been fun. I plan on making a new logo and a new intro and stuff. I actually want to figure out how you do an intro on here.
Can it do intros on SoundCloud or Audacity, you mean?
You can do an intro on SoundCloud, but you have to make it, and then you just put it in front of this. Because you can take this into something else and add to it or take away, but I don't know,
how to do that.
Well, I haven't messed with a lot of these programs like SoundCloud. I know you can go on there, click upload, and then wherever this saved to, you just upload it to it.
Right.
But as far as an intro goes, I have no freaking idea.
What you're thinking about needing is an actual sound editor rather than a video editor like Premiere.
Well, I have, I think I have sound editors. Maybe not.
Does Microsoft have one, or Adobe that is part of your Adobe pack that you got?
No, we don't have an Adobe pack with sound. Not like that.
Okay.
Actually, Adobe might have one, but we gotta... So, I don't know. Can check it out. If not, then I could drag it into Premiere, and I could just mess with the sound part and then save it as something.
And save it as a sound file, an MP3, rather than an MP4 or AVI. Yeah.
Well, MP4 should still work, because as long as the sound's there. I don't even know what this is saving as,
But it's SoundCloud, which is sound only, so it probably won't accept an MP4 format because of the video feature in it.
They actually take a lot. I was surprised. They have a good... they have a good bit that they actually took. I don't remember where they saved to. I really need to set up a certain folder that this saves to, because all of my editing stuff saves straight to a certain drive.
Right.
But all of my Audacity stuff doesn't. So I'm like...
Yeah, so you have to go and find everything every time?
Yeah, you wasn't up here last time I was looking for it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, dude, I had such a hard time. I don't know where it went. Or actually, I think I just figured out where it might be. No. It's still recording, I guess, until I save it.
Yeah. It automatically saves, but you probably could go on there and choose the destination.
Yeah, I really want to be able to do it, without closing the project.
Transport?
Where do you see transport?
Next to file.
Play stop. Maybe not.
No.
I think that would be under preferences.
Nope, nothing.
No, you can't click it while it's open.
Well, then.
I'll wait until this closes and I'll set up an autosave to save to my editing drive. That way I know it's all in the same place. But I need to get more space because of the videos and stuff, especially like I want to keep all my finished videos so they're on my external one.
Right.
It's going to fill up quick.
Yeah.
The only other drive I have that's external is a giant one for my Xbox.
Yeah, that's
it's 3 terabytes.
3 terabytes.
But
Jeez.
you have to plug it into the wall too, and it has all my games on it. So if I start saving other stuff, then the games won't work.
Right.
So I don't know.
Maybe we'll just have to get another. What is that? Is it an ebook?
No, actually.
The giant 3 terabyte one.
It is a Seagate drive.
Okay.
Yeah, it's.
You know it's serious when you have to plug
GameStop
itself in to the wall.
GameStop sold it.
Oh, nice. Dude, I haven't worked at GameStop since 2014.
I think that's actually around.
They made some major changes right before I left, and right after, because it was about that same time that they bought out Cricket Wireless, and we were really pushing for that.
That's why they started selling the phones or whatever in there.
They were selling phones before that, actually. So Cricket Wireless was the one that was really actually owned by GameStop, and that's the one we had to start pushing for. And then there was also, that's about the same time they bought ThinkGeek, so we started getting in more just swag stuff, and now when you walk in, it's half of basically a ThinkGeek store, and the other half is video games.
I do have to ask, do you guys know that your, like, one cheap controllers actually were crap?
You guys? What do you mean? I don't work there anymore.
No, just GameStop as general. Do they know that they're, like, knockoff 360 controllers and stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, dude.
I mean,
whenever people came in, and they were like trying to get a cheap controller. I'm like, well, you could get this one, but it's kind of crap.
There's wired
or you
ones that glow and stuff. Like as soon as you got one of the wired controllers from there, it always stopped working within like a couple of weeks.
Which was hilarious because way back when, like with the original Xbox, the black box, they were base. The normal controllers were all wired, and I got a wireless one at one point, and it just was crap.
Yeah.
And then with the new system, it being primarily wireless, the wired controllers, the only good use that I've ever seen for them, whether they're in great working condition or not, is to plug into a PC and have a controller, and they worked fine for that as far as I know. But even then.
Well, see, that's like for my PC. I have like the normal Xbox controller here, but from playing online and stuff, my joysticks are screwed up.
Right.
Someone got me a nice white controller.
Oh yeah, so you can make it all brown and yellow and gross.
Well, no, actually, it stays really clean. Just I like the triggers and stuff on this are nice.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
you can tell that one's still new.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I keep in mind I worked at GameStop for 2.5 years though, so when I see a white controller, I immediately cringe.
No, I keep mine. I don't like the extra crap on it.
Oh no, I mean the with white though, because it gets so dirty, and I worked there where people that should not have been allowed to touch clean things were touching clean things and making them dirty. And we had these box cutters that we would use to open boxes, obviously, but we also would take the blade and clean out that crack around the edge.
Yeah.
We used to pull so much gunk and nasty stuff.
Between that and the indents on the analog sticks.
Yeah, those the nubs.
Yeah.
People would wear those off so much. We actually were not allowed to take them if there was a hole. Like, if part of the rubber on it was missing, we couldn't take it. Thankfully. Well, I mean, it's like you wouldn't want to buy a controller like that. It's one thing if the nubs are worn off.
I could see if it's like the PlayStation ones. If you get a used one, usually it's not like the bump and the texture on it. It's smooth.
Yeah.
Because it's been worn down. I don't mind that. But if it's actually torn and the hard plastic showing, you don't like that.
Right. Sorry about that, guys.
But, no, funny story. I remember, not a lot of people know. I worked for Regis, which is an inventory company. We were in a store, and I kid you not, there were people changing in an aisle.
Changing? Like clothes?
Changing.
Were you inventorying during the day or night?
During the day. And I don't remember what store it was in, but they were in the middle of the aisle and they were trying on scrubs. And they were just taking their clothes off down to their bra and panties and putting them on. These were some big ladies. And, I mean, they were sitting there, like, trying to clothes on and stuff, and then trying to put their clothes on over it.
Oh, they were trying to steal it?
Yeah.
Oh.
But they were also trying to see what fit. And employees walked by, and one dude was like, you can't be doing that. And they tried to argue with this guy. And he's like, you're stealing.
Right?
I was like...
crazy.
And while we were inventorying, they did have somebody come in to escort them out. And it was great. Like, the whole time they were sitting there screaming, I was like, there's no way you could explain that.
Yeah, that's... No. Yeah. Give me a second, I'll be right back.
Yeah, there's some really weird things, like... Inventory by itself isn't bad. I did a couple of different stores that were actually pretty cool. I did a Honda plant. And... I think I had 20 people that was working under me. Or something like that. And it was just a pen and paper inventory marking the stuff down. It was actually pretty cool. Besides that, though, I did a lot of stuff for that different company. Besides that, I worked for a family junkyard. And we just pulled parts and... Well... pulled parts, gave the parts. We actually ended up playing in the junkyard here and there. Had bonfires and stuff. I don't know. It wasn't that bad, but I haven't had any actual crap jobs. So the worst job I've had has just been different moments here and there on the inventory side, and that's usually just dealing with people. I didn't mind. I never minded the job. The job was easy, and it was really quick to get done. The only thing that I really hated was dealing with the people, because most of them just, they knew more than you did, and it didn't matter. And now, granted, when I started, I was 18 when I started RGIS, straight out of high school.
Oh, jeez.
And
it's a wonderful first job to have.
Well, I was there for a couple years, and I think by the time I hit supervisor, I was either 19 or 20. Now I'm going into a supervisor over people that are even double my age or a little more.
Yeah.
And I'm telling them what to do. And they're
Isn't that a great feeling?
All of them hated it, dude. Because RGIS wanted to start getting younger supervisors. All of the older ones were throwing a fit. Every single one of them. They hated it. But the bad thing is, I could go in, do my job, and run a store better than any of them. I was running small, medium, and large inventories within a year of being a supervisor.
Nice.
And these were ones worth like a couple $1 million. And people just got ticked. But, I mean, I didn't have a problem with the job wasn't bad. The people sucked.
Right.
I hated more than half of them.
There's only one job I've ever had that I really just did not like the job itself, and that was telemarketing.
Yeah, I could see that, because that would suck.
But every other job I've ever had, the reason why I didn't like it, or if I didn't like it, the reason was more the people that I had to deal with.
Well, that's like...
Usually other employees, less of customer dealing with.
I was given a core team, and I don't really want to mention the store. But I didn't have any issue with any of the people. I had a decent team that worked with me each time. It was always usually a decent one. The issue I had was I had one manager who decided to scream in my face and tell me I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay.
And this happened in multiple stores, but she said she'd been doing it for 20-something years, and I didn't know what I was doing because I was a supervisor running the store.
What?
She was telling me that I gave her the wrong paperwork at the end of the day.
Okay.
I have a list that tells me exactly which papers I need to give her. The issue is that the paper she thought she got had a different name. It's called an area missing report. So I asked her what that was. And she said that it had the name of the range, which means the section of the store with the tickets.
Right.
Of where we started and ended. And all of those through the store. What percent was voided if we ended up pulling that ticket for some reason, or which ones were combined with what one, and stuff. And we had a report exactly like that, called a completion report.
Okay.
I gave her the completion report. And she told me I was wrong.
Because it had a different name.
Because the name did not say area missing report. So I called my manager, which was fine. And I described it to him, exactly what she said for the report, and he said that is a completion report. I had went through all of the menus on our portable and looked for an area missing report.
It didn't exist.
So by the end of it, she was screaming in my face. My manager told me just pack up and go home. He was like, leave the paperwork that she gets there and go home. He's like, she isn't going to cooperate with you, just go home. So I did. I was ticked. It was the one, literally like down the road from my house.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you just couldn't shop there anymore.
Well, I never shopped there to begin with because there was Walmart and everything else. I didn't usually go to that store.
Right.
I really hated it. It ticked me off beyond belief. And the only reason she did that is because I was younger.
Right.
Every single store where I had an issue is because they were older than me and they wanted to tell me I was wrong when I knew how to do my job.
Right.
Every time. And I have the biggest issue with that because if I know how to do something, don't tell me I'm doing it wrong just because you're older than me. Because that's retarded.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter what age you are, what race you are, what gender you are.
If I can do the job right, let me do it.
Exactly. And that's how I am with a lot of things, and that's actually why I ended up leaving GameStop, is because it got to the point where somebody got a job or got a position, a promotion that they were not, as a person, ready for. And I knew this because I knew this person. And they got this promotion that they didn't deserve just because of one of those prejudices.
Well, you want to hear some real crap? I've put in for, okay, basically the way Regis works, you have your 4 counting ranks.
Right.
And then during any of those counting ranks, you can become a supervisor. The only person the supervisor answers to is an area manager or district manager. District manager being the top, area manager you usually have 2 or 3. I had put in for area manager multiple times. 3. You know why I didn't get it?
Well,
I was qualified, but what it comes down to is if the other area managers agree. So I had older people that were applying for the same position. Even though I was qualified for it, I wasn't considered as much. Because I was only, I think at the time I put in, I was actually 20.
because you weren't part of the old farts club is what you're saying.
Because I was 20 and I put in for it, they didn't want me to be an area manager. And they said that, like they say you can go to school for business and that'll help what it looks like, but you don't need to because everything for Regis is on the job training.
Gotcha. So they have an internal school basically.
Well, it's not even that. Like most of the stuff you learn is just how to fill out a form online, and that's all it is. And then you send it out. So that's all it was. But they didn't consider.
Man, that sounds super easy.
Well, it's not that hard. But the main thing is like, I don't know. I guess the way they looked at it is because there was different normal counters that weren't taking me seriously because I was only 20. Now, the nice thing is, if I ever went into the office and was talking about somebody not taking me seriously, they would talk to them or fire them.
Right. Because whether you're 20 or whether you're 40,
I'm still a supervisor.
You're still a supervisor, and if you tell them to do something, they do it.
Yeah.
At which point, and there's the old saying, I'll censor it, crap rolls downhill, right? Mm-hmm. What they don't say is where it starts. It starts at the top and rolls down.
And
so if it's a matter of you're the supervisor and you're crapping on them because they're below you, you're getting crapped on from above you too.
I was never
if you do something wrong
to a single person because how it works. We have an APH in the store, which means average per hour. It's how many things you counted, and as long as you meet your APH in the store, because there's certain goals you have to meet per store, and if you hit the goal above you or your goal, you can move up you can move up to the next rank and get more money. Right.
Makes sense.
Now, as a supervisor, you need to make sure everybody hits their APH, and there's a certain APH for a store called a calc. And what that is it's based on past events and stuff. So you have to hit this calc, but it's an average of everybody's APH divided by something else.
Okay. Or compared against like last year's results or whatever.
Well, it's everybody's APH. Everybody's APH divided by something, or divided by the calc, tells you how many hours you're missing or hitting.
Okay.
you have to be hitting on your hours to hit the store. So what you have to do is you have to play how fast people can count based on their areas. Everybody only wants to count the easy areas because they can get it done quick or something, so their APH is up.
Get better scores.
But then you have a bunch of crap skipped. What people hated me for is because I learned how to balance it. I would take their APH and I would have them count crap for, let's say, half the night.
Okay.
But I guaranteed that their numbers would be up before they left. Because I would have something they could count or something to help their APH before they ended up leaving so they didn't lose their thing.
Right.
And everybody got ticked at me. They was like, well, you only want me to count crap. Okay, yeah. For around half the night, I did have you counting crap. But I made up for it. And
that way, your numbers were better, their numbers were better, and it was actually beneficial for everyone.
As a supervisor, your numbers don't count in the store.
Right, but as the supervisor, the store's numbers are your numbers.
The store's numbers, yeah. So I balanced it out and stuff, and I had it all running, and everybody kept sitting there fighting with me, saying that I was picking favorites. I never did. The only thing that I ever did
was reward the people who were better with doing stuff that their skills were good for.
Not even that, because we have 4 ranks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your 2 highest ranks are Expert and Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make sure their numbers are up because they count higher against your calc. So if you dump on their numbers all night, that's going to suck. Now we have 4 ranks. Auditor, Specialist, Expert, and Top Gun. And Auditor's numbers don't fully matter. But if they're getting ready to move up to Specialist, I'm not going to crap on their numbers. But if it's between dumping a Top Gun's numbers and the Auditor's numbers...
Dump the Auditor, yeah.
Yeah, the Auditor has to. And I don't dump them that far. As long as they're counting at a decent pace, they'll have it.
Right.
But everybody just... It all came down to they thought I was playing favorites. And for bigger stores, we have things called adder rolls, which means I'm running the store and I can't stay on top of people, so I need to have somebody else do it.
Right. So basically, you're the supervisor over the supervisors over the people actually doing things.
It's a supervisor, and then there's flow leaders. And depending on the store, you have a certain number of flow leaders.
Right.
Now, I picked flow leaders based on who I knew could do it. Mike was one of them. And everybody jumped to us playing favorites. No. Oh, not exactly. I knew that he was a specialist, and he would still hit his numbers even though he didn't need to. But he could do it while staying on top of people, making sure they were counting.
Right.
And he knew exactly where I wanted the flow to go. There's other people in the stores. Yes, they could have been another supervisor before him, but they didn't know what they were doing as much. They didn't know how I ran my store or how I wanted everybody's numbers to fluctuate. And I did that because I had a store where I had somebody else as a flow leader. And that whole flow, I ended up moving myself because that flow leader wasn't working right. So what I did is I had them go and do pre-counts so that they were out of my way, and I moved the flow around myself. Because the way it was moving, yes, I was hitting, but there was some favoritism in that flow where people were hitting and others weren't. Mm. So by the time I was done, I wasn't just hitting, I was gaining hours. Which, to gain hours, you have to be hitting and you have to be a certain number above. That way when you divide it by the calc, it gives you a higher number.
Right.
Because it tells you if it's like negative or positive, and if it's positive, I think I saved like 50-something hours in the store in a couple places.
Wow.
But I could do the math and I could play where it was going to go.
Absolutely.
And just, I don't know. And then I stopped doing counting and I went and did mapping.
Hey man, if that's what does it. Whatever floats your boat. But anyway, we've been recording for a while. We've done a nice little chat and then a bitch session about past jobs.
Yeah.
You want to wrap up here?
Yeah, we can. We're at about 45 minutes, so that ain't bad.
Yep. So guys, once again, please remember to like, subscribe, share, whatever we're doing on here. SoundCloud, now that we're using that has a heart feature to favorite it. Follow us on there. Follow us on Facebook. at Dyrkus Conradus.
And Superchrisman.
As well as, don't forget to check out I Do What I Want Media Group, What Did You Expect, KittensNMeth, and MikeSavesTheDay, both on Facebook and YouTube. And we'll catch up with you guys another time.
Thanks.
Bye.